Good evening and welcome to Wednesday, July 19, 2023, 6 p.m. regular Planning Commission meeting. The meeting now will come in order. Tonight, invocation will be given by Ms. Masayet and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Ms. Flores. Everybody stand, please.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the ability to come before you with this commission. We invite you to be here with us this evening and to grant us wisdom with each case and situation that is presented before us tonight. In your name we pray.
Now for the Pledge of Allegiance, please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, please announce any items you will recusing from due to a conflict of interest prior to the item being heard. Secretary, will you please give me a roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Barcena,
Present.
Commissioner De La Rosa. Commissioner Gomez
Present.
and Chairperson Rivera.
Present. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Staff has asked that we remove item number 2 from the agenda, site plan review number 2023-036. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? To approve the agenda with the elimination of the item number 2?
I second the motion.
Any opposed? Agenda pass. Public hearing item number 1. We will now begin the item number 1 on the agenda at this time. I will open the public hearing. It will be 6:03 p.m. I have a staff report, please.
Thank you, Chairperson Rivera. Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight, I will be presenting the staff report for conditional use permit number 2023-011. This is for a 4-unit apartment house project located at 8217 Garfield Avenue. Now, the applicant is requesting approval of conditional use permit 2023-011 to authorize the proposed development of a 4-unit apartment house and 2 accessory dwelling units on a property zoned commercial manufacturing located at 8217 Garfield Avenue, pursuant to Bell Gardens Municipal Code Section 9.12.030, Table 9.12a. A little bit on the site description. Again, it's located at 8217 Garfield Avenue. It is zoned CM, our commercial manufacturing zone. It is also located in the general plan land use of general commercial. The subject site is approximately 11,548 square feet. North of the subject site, as shown in the diagram to the right, is commercial. South to the subject site is commercial. East to the subject site is Garfield Avenue with commercial across the street, and west is residential. This is the current site condition. Currently existing is 2 single-family dwelling units and 1 2-car garage located at the rear of the property. This is another image from the alley. Again, you could see the two carved garage located at the rear of the property, and of course, gated off by some chain link fence. Now, again, the subject site is approximately 11,548 square feet in size. Vehicular access to the subject site can be found off Garfield Avenue, as shown here in the yellow arrows. It is accessed through a 20-foot wide driveway. The second access way to the property would be off the alley, as shown here with the yellow arrows. Now, the project will consist of two residential buildings, one here outlined in red and the second here outlined in blue. The red building located adjacent to Garfield Avenue would consist of 4 units with 4 two-car garages for a total of 8 off-street parking spaces. The building proposed to be located adjacent to the alley would consist of 2 ADUs above 5 one-car garages with a total of 5 off-street parking spaces. Focusing on the primary building with the 4 units, 4 apartment house units on the first floor, it would consist of a 2-car garage, a kitchen, dining room, living room, and restroom. On the second floor, it will consist of the 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And each apartment unit would range from the size of 1,500 square feet to 2,000 square feet. The second building will consist of the ADU and 5 one-car garages. Each ADU would be approximately 886 square feet in size. And that would be located on the second floor. The 5 one-car garages will be located on the first floor. Now, going into the elevations of the project, the proposed project has been architecturally designed to incorporate a modern style that is projected to include contemporary shingle roof tops and stucco finishes. The proposed exterior colors of the buildings would be painted to 2 tones. As shown here in the diagram, the top half of the building would be painted white, and the second half, lower half of the building would be painted gray. This is the elevation for the primary building. And it would be mimicked over to the second building where the ADU and the 2 ADUs are located and the 5 one-car garages. So there will be consistency throughout the property in terms of the design. Now, the applicant's request is consistent with the City of Bell Gardens general plan. The proposed project will conform with all the applicable standards for residential exterior building and site features and zone development standards and requirements pursuant to section 9.12.040, table 9.12B, commercial development standards matrix, and chapter 9.38, parking and loading off street. Lastly, the applicant's request meets all of the findings established in section 9.50.050 conditional use permit of the Bell Gardens Municipal Code. Now, it's recommended that the Planning Commission, 1, conduct the public hearing for this item, and 2, adopt resolution PC 2023-05, finding conditional use permit number 2023-011, exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving the development of a 4-unit apartment house and 2 accessory dwelling units on the property located at 8217 Garfield Avenue in the commercial manufacturing zone. That concludes my staff report. Staff and the applicant is available for any questions the commissioners may have. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to the commission questions or comments. Does any commissioners have any questions and comments? I would like to ask you, let me see, maybe we go to the public hearing and then we probably ask questions later. So we can hear what if there's any concerns from the public. We will now open to the public comments for any items. Secretary, please announce the instructions for the public participation.
The members of the public will now have the opportunity to speak on the public hearing item number 1. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the members of the Planning Commission. Each speaker and written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chamber. If you haven't done so already, please submit your comment cards. And we did receive 2 comment cards, Chairperson.
Okay, first participant is Steven Sanmar. Can you please come to the front? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, council persons. My name is Steven Senemar. I'm the project manager for this development. I am here just to answer any questions if there is any. We would like the council to approve our project so we could get started on this. And as we all know, state of California is in very dire need of housing, and this will help just a little bit. And as the Adrian mentioned, that there's a lot of parking provided, so there's no stress on off-street parking. And the units are in different sizes, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, to accommodate different size families or individuals. If there's any question, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yes, just out of curiosity, assuming that this is approved, when do you anticipate that building would begin?
My understanding is the building plan check process takes between 1 to 3 months. So most likely we'll start sometime in early 24. Of course, there's some work to be done, demolishing, compaction, grading, and so on. That might happen prior to construction. So I would assume January or February of 24.
And what's your projected completion time?
This is a fairly small project. I would say 6 to 8 months. So by, I would say October of 24, we should be done.
Okay. And are any of these units designated for median income or low income or anything like that?
And not at the moment. No,
It's
they're
all
not.
it's all market rate?
This is market rate.
Okay.
And I have been in a rental property business for 40 years, and open market basically decides what the value is.
Mhm.
And back in 2007, there were some projects that the rents were discounted up to 30–40%. So market decides how much the rent is. Obviously, the construction cost also is there.
Okay. Right, thank you.
Sure.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the access points to the property? I know there's an alley in the back.
Sure.
Okay.
The 4-unit building has access through Garfield, and it has the 20 feet driveway for backup into the garages. And the 5-car garages that are accessed through the alley, they're mostly guest parking. The ADUs, they're not required to have parkings, but there are some that could be used by some of the ADU tenants. So basically, you have 2 access points, some from the Garfield and some from the, I think it's a 20-foot alleyway. Sure.
Sorry, one more question. In terms of the access points off of Garfield, because of the heavy volume of traffic in that area, is that at an intersection where the access point is at?
This
Like,
is
how do you
mid-block.
see
Uh,
that being impacted?
Right. Basically, nobody could back into Garfield. Everybody drives into their apartment house or condo unit, and then they will turn around and drive into Garfield.
Okay,
And this property is mid-block, so it's not at the corner.
okay, good. Right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
Next,
Good evening. I'll open straightforward. This is a direct attack on single-family dwellings and middle-income Americans. This is crushing middle Americans. This needs to be considered environmentally with the LEED certification. I don't know if it falls under SB 9 or not, because that is a rezoning of R1 zones to R2, where you can replace a single-family dwelling with a fourplex, which is definitely the last place that the elitist bankers can get a yield on their money. They can't get any yield on their money anywhere else, so they are attacking single-family dwellings and the middle class. It needs to be also considered to be able to have LEED certification. That's LEED, which is an acronym that means Leadership in Energy Environmental Design. Are these facilities going to have LEED certification? And there's a score for those things. In many cases, that is available. It's globally recognized, but you can also find out about LEED certification in the US Green Building Code. It's a federal issue, okay? And it's going to be worldwide. So the United Nations is working on this, and we need to fight these things as much as possible. We need to preserve single-family dwellings for middle-class Americans. Also, LEED certification claims that it will create healthy, highly efficient, cost-saving green buildings. Are these going to be LEED certified? Good question. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. It also is going to be involved with what's called ESG, although BlackRock is not going to use the term ESG any longer, because people are wising up to it of how it destroys their environment and their economies. And ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Now, to get rid of ESG, they have to go back to the original, which is called SDG. So if you're making a little note of these acronyms, it's something you could look up. That says sustainability development goals. So there's going to be goals and requirements that is going to be dictated to you, just like they are now from the state of California. So we need to find out, is the place is going to have to, are they going to be able to use gas stoves? For example, so something to think about. Look up those acronyms. Thank you.
Chairperson, we did not receive any other written comments. And nor do we have anybody in the chat line at the moment wishing to speak on this item.
There is no additional question and comment by the planning commission. I will close the public hearing. 6:20. May I have a motion to approve a staff recommendation as noted in the staff report and presentation or anything else? Any commissions?
I'll submit the motion to approve public hearing. Item number one, conditional use permit number 2023-0-11 with both the resolutions finding conditional use permit number 2023-01 exempt from provisions of CEQA. And then number two, approving CUP number 2023-11 to authorize proposed development of a 4-unit apartment house.
The second,
Second.
Secretary, will you give me a roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes,
and Chairperson Rivera.
Yes. Go get it done as quick as possible. Thank you very much. We need more houses, so if you can do more, I guess, we welcome. Public hearing item number 3. There will be now beginning with the item number 3 agenda. Staff is requesting the commission continue zoning amendment on number 2023-050 to the next regular scheduled meeting. That's the item number 2, or we are confused. Let me see here. Well, that's number 3. So do we have a motion to approve staff recommendation as noted on the staff report?
yeah, move this item to the next meeting. for
Might I have a
Wednesday, August
second?
16th.
Second.
No opposed? Pass. Thank you. Public comment on agenda. Now will be open the list.
Chairperson, if I may, I don't know if you want to go ahead and do the roll call on that continued item.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes,
and Chairperson Rivera.
Yes, thank you. Public comments on the agenda items. We will now open the item listed on the agenda. Secretary, please announce any instructions for the public participations.
The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on agenda items. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the members of the Planning Commission. Each speaker written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't done so already, please submit all your comment cards now.
If there is no objections by the Planning Commission, I will close public participation for agendized items. No objection. Consent calendar item number 4 and 5 will now move to the consent calendar. Does any member of the Planning Commission wish to pull an item for separate discussions? No. I have a motion to approve the item 4 and 5 on this consent calendar.
Motion to approve item 4 and 5 on the consent calendar.
Second,
second the motion.
you want to do a roll call on this one too?
Sure. Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
and Chairperson Rivera.
Yes. Discussion on item number 6. Planning Secretary, will you please announce discussion item number 6?
Sure, the next item on the agenda would be the reorganization and selection of chairperson and chairperson and vice chairperson. It is the staff's recommendation that the planning commission by motion organize and select a chairperson and vice chairperson. With that said, I will now open the floor for nominations for the position of chairperson.
I raise a motion to nominate Tony Rivera as chairperson.
So we have one nomination. Any more nominations? So if
Do we
we
have
don't
any
have
other
more
nominations?
nomination, we take a vote.
Okay. There's no other nominations, and I'll conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Rivera. Chairperson Rivera, will
So
remain chairperson.
the next one would be the vice chair, correct?
Yes. Was that a yes on your end?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations. And now I will open the floor for nominations for the position of vice chairperson.
I nominate Commissioner Barcena for the vice chairperson position.
I'd like to raise a motion to nominate Chairperson Gabriela Gomez to be vice chairperson.
To be who, I'm sorry?
Vice chair.
What was the name?
Gomez. Uh-oh. Okay, so do we want to do a roll call for the first nomination? Okay, so let's do the roll call for the first nomination.
Well, this is Lloyd, excuse me, if I may. So is there a question about whether there's going to be another nomination? I mean, you can view this time as just time to talk about it. The commissioners can informally say, hey, I'd like to do it. Will someone nominate me? You can have informal discussion and then see if you've narrowed it down to one person and then just make one motion.
Okay,
Or if there's more than one person, then you can do one vote first and see if that person makes it.
got it. Okay, because we did receive two separate nominations, so they can, you guys like to discuss to come to one nomination, you guys can do so.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think. Vice chairperson just yet, take a little more time, so, we'll just present the item one for that.
I also agree with Gabriela. I don't think I have enough experience for this. At this time, I'm able to make another nomination, or is it too late for that?
I think you can make another nomination.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no limit. This is more like open discussion. If you want to suggest someone's name and that person can say whether they're interested, and really you'll take a vote when you decide that it's going to be a formal, you can call it a nomination or you can call it a motion.
Okay. With that being said, I think Miguel De La Rosa, if he's interested, would be a good candidate for this role.
Thank you for the nomination. Yes, I accept it.
Okay, we take a vote then.
Got it. Okay. Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
and Chairperson Rivera.
Yes, that's for De La Rosa, right? To be a vice chair.
Yeah, but it has to be after,
Okay.
yeah, so. And Chairperson Rivera.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
Okay, now we go to the public comments, not agenda item. Public comment is not open for items not listed on the planning commission agenda. Secretary, please announce the instructions for the public participation.
The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the planning commission agenda. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chamber. If you haven't done so already, please submit your comment cards now. And Chairperson, we do not have anybody in the chat line either.
Okay. If there is no objection by the planning commission, I will close public comments.
Chairperson, I'm sorry, you know what? We did receive a comment card. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Well, Bruce, Speaker Bruce A. Crow.
Yes. Yes, a last comment. It's good to see that when people don't have enough experience, they at least acknowledge that. And that's why possibly if you're not sure what you're voting on, either for or against, maybe you should abstain specifically about LEED certification and buildings of these kind. And not just use the excuse that we need more housing. It's not that we need more housing. Maybe we need fewer people. Okay, there is a depopulation plan by the United Nations to thin out the herd a little bit. And there's ways they have done it and there's ways they plan to do it as well. So your argument in a city that has 39,000 people in 3 square miles is not to take away 2 single-family dwellings and put a 4-plex in there. You're creating more density. Is that environmentally sustainable? Let's say according to Gavin Newsom, is that environmentally sustainable? Has anybody proven to you that it is? How about Joe Biden attacking gas stoves and other fossil fuels? What are you going to do to replace that? Is that sustainable? We're going to get rid of carbon. We got to be carbon neutral. You know, you and I are human beings. We're carbon based. Are we going to get rid of people? Will that make it more environmentally sustainable? How much of our environment, what percentage is carbon? Does anybody know? Probably not. Used to be 25% when the plants were real big and the animals were real big. They had plenty of carbon dioxide. Now we're down to 0.04%. Is that sustainable? If we reduce that anymore, what's going to happen to people? So you got to have a plan to eliminate the density. And we've already seen the plan it put into place by Tony Fauci. The virus, we knocked off a bunch of people that way, and then we knocked off some more with the vaccines. And then when they got the boosters, you know, you got to have those. That just fries your immune system. We're knocking off a few people that way. How about we just cut the kids' genitals off so they can't reproduce? That's a good way to do it. Think about those things. Thank you.
Excuse me, can I say something?
Did you wish to speak, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Next the one on the wall, next to the speaker card.
Oh, I don't. Oh. Oh, I don't understand. I was filling out about that. Well, I was gonna say something with what he brought up. What is the agenda today? What does it matter? Oh, okay. Okay, yes. Well, what is the agenda? Can anybody specifically explain it to me, please? The specific of what today is? I go by Angelo. I just had a specific question about what issues that you majorly wanted to talk about today in the discussion to see what we could improve or what suggestions could make impact better stability and more successful in our rating of society. Because there's there's many areas in society where people don't listen to and don't think of protecting or just activating certain people that cross the border from other places. And there's certain things that
The speaker's clock is not running.
there's certain things that there's a reason why there's called third world countries and we're the first world country over here. Because there's certain things that they have that the government is not letting them have many rights. Over here is a land of free. We keep getting more rights and more rights and more rights for everybody to get that equality. But there's also protection that we sometimes lack because we decide to look the other way. And that's people want to forget about all cases. And some people, when you sign up for certain things, you sign up of like not knowing when your last day will be. But at the end of the day, you sign up for whenever the chance may be to speak, you speak upon it and you want the better for this nation. So if you're my brother, if you're my sister, I'm gonna treat you like a brother and sister. I'm not gonna treat you like a wife or a husband, or I'm gonna show you how ill people are to be following religion and following their old culture keeps them in a cold state of mind. And a lot of people back then, and a lot of people that don't have the willingness to change that open-mindedness, to close that closed-minded and open it and be respectful to one another, is taking the respect of one's privacy, one's wife, one's husband, one's brother, and one's sister. And then you take this respectfully, thinking that you're entitled into some things, and everything is come back to God. And we forget to grow our roses, grow our fruit, grow our for others. We forget to be there for nature as nature is for us. and our children, our little ones don't have the capacity to say, hey, this person hurt me, or hey, this person did this to me. People intimidate people. And little ones are usually everyone. We were once little and we were once wrong. So I do not like when people look the other way and want to just, okay, well, it's not happening to me no more, so I'm not going to do nothing about it. It doesn't work like that. And there's people in social services that always do things that are because they have the power, or because this person has this name or did that. Okay, that's okay. You get respect for that. I'm not gonna be someone to be like, oh, I'm a liker. I'm gonna be myself toe to toe with certain people because certain people went through certain things that made a difference to the nation. But when you do something that dishonors anything that you did honorably, that's an automatic discharge. And to me, I don't see no respect in that. And I don't want to say, oh, in this, we're all perfect because we're on this level or you're on this level. No, we could all be on this level if you could just open your heart a little bit, keep that heart pure and keep that heart strong. Because it don't matter if I'm happy or if I'm not happy or if I don't get what I want. That doesn't mean I have the right to get, that I have the right to take it to anyone else. But once again, God bless America. So, stay.
If there is no objection by the planning commission, I will close the public comments on that agenda item. Objection? The staff comments?
I have two items in the for awareness. The regulation working item, working hours item, is staff proposal to meeting backward to 5 o'clock. The background on that is that the planning commission is the only commission in the city that started at the latest dates. We started early in the meeting.
I can't hear Stephen.
We're working on that issue. Give us just 1 second.
Okay, let's try that. Lloyd, can you hear me now?
Yeah. We can hear.
Okay, great.
Roger.
All right, I feel good that it wasn't me. Background on the item for regulation and working hours is that the planning commission has the authority and the autonomy to proceed as it sees fit regarding appropriate conduct and legal accountability. The commission has bylaws that the council has given, again, that authority and autonomy to change as needed. The Bell Gardens Municipal Code provides that changes to lawful rules require council approval, but this wouldn't be a change to the rules. The Brown Act allows the California legislation allows meeting times to be determined by the local jurisdiction, so long as said times are appropriately noticed. So anything that does happen would be agendized and noticed as soon as August, if the commission would prefer. So there's no provisions in place that restrict the timing, and there are pros to this change that include a positive impact on the fiscal soundness of the city, since less overtime would be paid. And currently the meeting starts at 6 o'clock. Staff is paid overtime at that very moment. Also, it would allow for scheduling in a more consistent manner that would help boost morale and staff pursuits outside of work. For example, Adrian Flores, of whom we're very proud, is pursuing his master's degree. He's a master's student and he's out of school tonight because he has to stay late. So thank you for that. But yeah, we could have a well-informed and educated staff to serve the public well and do things outside of work that speak to the whole person. The cons obviously would include your schedules. So if timing permits, you'd have to make arrangements to be here earlier. But with your thoughts and consideration of the matter, we're putting forth that a start time of earlier than 6 would be appropriate for this commission as well. Any thoughts?
Yes, so I appreciate that 6 o'clock is infringes on people's time and that it costs extra money to pay because you pay overtime. Unfortunately for me, I work until 6 o'clock and I'm already taking time off from work to be here at 6 o'clock. To schedule it earlier means that I would have to take even more time off. Now, if it was possible to participate virtually, I might be able to do that. But I, as it is, I'm already taking it, and it's once a month. It's only once a month for me, but I would have to take 2 hours off at least to be here to make the meeting. So if there's the option of or the possibility of participating virtually, I could do that from my office. But at this point,
Okay, we can
Yeah.
look into that. I don't know that the rules have changed, so they've changed and shifted so much based on post-pandemic
Mhm.
procedure. So we'll look into that and see what the options are regarding virtual and get back to you.
Thank you.
What time do you look at it? What time you looking at for the city?
Since our working hours end at 6, 5 or 5:30 would be probably the most fiscally sound, but we're here, at your discretion. So if it doesn't work out to changing time, then it would be appropriate for you guys to keep it as is, or if 5:30 is better, for the group and you could do virtually, then that's something you could do as well.
I don't have a problem at any time, but I think it would be, we used to do it, I think, fine before. And at one time, that time 5 was working really good.
At some point, it was 7 o'clock and there was so much time in between, time off and waiting for the commission to start. It was another sort of inappropriate use of the people's resources. So we moved it up to 6. It's probably been, different times as well. So that's all just goes to show that you guys have the autonomy to shift as needed, as long as it's appropriately noticed. So we'll put that into our, in consideration, and we'll get back to you on the virtual option.
I think another thing is we need to ask to all the commissions, what is the best time for them? We already know the one, it works, so if the other 2 we can make it, then that would probably be the how can we make a decision? And we need to find out if they can do it virtual. I mean, we've done it before, why can we do it now?
Yeah, we'll check. And definitely the attorneys, I'm sure, will have the latest and the most current appropriate protocol on that. So
Yeah, if I may, Stephen, this is Lloyd. So I will double check on what the rule is on that. It is different now that I believe since May of this year, we in the state are no longer in a state of emergency. I believe that's the case. So the rules have changed. We will continue to have what's called hybrid meetings, which means that the public can always participate by phone if they want to. But as far as the members of the commission, I got to double check about that. So, but this item on the agenda is not for taking action on it. So Stephen just raised the issue. We'll nail down what the rule is about whether commissioners, I know that they can appear remotely in certain emergency situations if they suddenly get sick or something like that. But in terms of a regular basis, I got to double check that, so I will. And in the meantime, staff can even, as chair Rivera suggests, staff can check with each commissioner and just see what their preliminary thoughts is. So, but Stephen, I think you said you were planning to put it on a future agenda for voting on it.
Yes, we will definitely follow up and get it
Okay.
on the new agenda. Thanks.
Yeah, but I think the idea, and thank you for your advice, but I think the idea we need to figure out is number one, will it work for everybody? We already can ask right now if they work like earlier. If they can come in, if we got majority, they will come in. Only one person, then he needs to find out if it's legal or not. And then the next thing, we need to make a decision that later on, but at least you will have an idea.
Yes. So we know about Commissioner Gabriela Gomez's situation, so we've got that.
Well, and I'd like to add, I mean, if 5 o'clock works for everyone, I don't want to be the holdout or the reason why, we can't do it at 5 o'clock. Again, it's once a month. I do have to request my time off, I'm using my vacation time to come here and do this. Like 2 hours a month is, as long as my meetings, I don't have meetings that run until 5 o'clock. I can probably make it, but I would prefer, if it's possible, to have a virtual option. Thank you.
I have a question for the sake of clarity. So this process is something that can be done whenever, right? Like if for whatever reason our schedules change and we need to shift back to a later time, it is something that can be brought up again and we can all vote on it.
Correct.
To change it.
Yes.
Okay. And just for the record, at this current time, 5 p.m. works for me. If you want to take note of that, Stephen.
Thank you.
Okay, here you go. You got all the answers
Good start.
and you can put it on the agenda for next time to take a vote.
Sounds good. So for the next two items that I had to update you on were for commission recommendations that went to city council. As you're aware, the council introduced and later consented to adopt ordinance number 934 to establish provisions to regulate conditionally permit cannabis activity in response to the state's impending legislation that's effective in 2024 that would have removed local jurisdiction discretion. The ordinance will become effective July 27th, 2023, and we've received a good number of calls about processing and what that process will look like. The city attorneys are still looking at the items necessary to process a conditional use permit request, but the commission could be seeing commercial cannabis activity requests in as few as 90 days. So the actual ordinance is effective, again, July 27th, 2023. The council also authorized the convening of a community pedestrian and bicyclist safety planning committee for workshops to help develop a community-driven safety action plan for bicycling and walking and pedestrian activity in the city. Your commission brought up some very good points as we were talking about the environmental justice element and the work we're doing to engage the community there. And the city wanted a grant earlier this year to help us come up with a plan to improve safety in the city. So that's working, and Traffic and Safety Commission is working on being that committee for that action. And one of our very own, Commissioner Gabriela Gomez, is a part of that. So she was there last week to help inform their staff of concerns and issues in the city. So that was a good thing to be a part of. I appreciate your time there. And the last thing I'll say is that the second reading is scheduled to occur at the next council meeting for the residential parking accommodations that you guys recommended approval on. And the city council heard it, introduced it, and they're prepared to adopt it in the coming meeting. So that's a good thing for property owners to be able to accommodate residential parking closer to the rear lot line, which would allow on-street parking to be alleviated and other opportunities for units to be designed well and in a safe manner. And that concludes my report. I'm available for any questions or concerns that you guys have for planning.
Thank you very much. We don't have no questions from the commissions. Thank you for the people who assist and give us an information. Thank you for the good work of the staff. And now we'll have a motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
Second,
Second.
so be it. Adjourn.